Hello there, lovely good morning. It's a lovely Wednesday morning right here on Camnet TV. Breakfast show where we are urging you to rise and thrive this particular morning. My name is Joe Smata. And of course, I'm with my colleague, Mr. Chanda Mwango. Chanda, good to see you and good morning.
Good to see you, Joe. Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm alright. It's a lovely Wednesday morning, but I left home when power was cut.
That's expected, given the current times we are in. That's not a surprise, so it's expected. You just have to leave home without power. If I told you leave home with power, it's a crime.
It's a crime.
Time.
It's an anomaly.
How possible is it that you have power when others don't have?
Okay, since your health is your wealth, let's go into our health corner. Join us on the other side.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakubia Namfaya. So this week we have been talking about stroke and we discussed what is stroke. We say the stroke is a condition that occurs when there is blockage in the brain that leads to a brain damage or a bleed in the brain that causes brain injury. So we also say that stroke patients would have certain symptoms and signs, and we said some of the signs of a stroke is that somebody might have paralysis on one side of the body where they're not able to move their arms and not able to speak well. And if you ask the patient to smile, they might not be able to smile as well. So those are some of the signs that somebody is having a stroke. So what happens now when you take the patient to the hospital and the doctor is supposed to see the patient? So usually we would order tests that we need to know certain things about the patient. We need to know their cholesterol levels in the blood. How much cholesterol do they have? If it's very high, then we need to correct that cholesterol by giving them some medications. Then we also need to know how their blood pressure is. Is the blood pressure too high at that point? Usually when the blood pressure is very high, we do not give medications to bring it down too quickly. We usually allow them to be in that state of having high blood pressure for a period of time while we are bringing it down very slowly so that we do not cause the brain to have more injury by not perfusing the brain enough. So the other thing is that we'd also need to check the blood if there's any infection anywhere, and we check for the kidneys as well if they're functioning well, the liver is functioning well. Then the major test that needs to be done for somebody that has just had a stroke is a CT scan. So it's important that we should be able to do the CT scan and check the brain to see the extent of the damage, and to also be able to see what type of stroke they are having. Is it an ischemic stroke or is it a hemorrhagic stroke? So if it's an ischemic stroke, we have different ways of managing patients with an ischemic stroke and also different ways of managing patients with hemorrhagic stroke. So we need to be able to do a CT scan, very important. So if you go to the hospital with somebody who has a stroke, make sure that a CT scan is done and it's seen by the radiologist and reported to be able to know what type of stroke is it and to be able to determine the treatment. So for the treatment, of course, like I have mentioned, we need to know the cholesterol. We need to be able to give the medications to bring the cholesterol to normal. Of course, that is going to take some time. It will not be done in just one day. So as time goes on, as the patient is taking those medications to bring down the cholesterol, then the cholesterol will go down to the normal range. Then the other thing is that we need to treat the BP. So we need to be able to treat the BP over a period of time and not very quickly because it may cause other complications. So the BP medications have to be given, and the patient has to be taking the BP medications even after the stroke. Whether it has resolved or it has not resolved, then the patient still needs to take their BP medication. Also, patients who have high blood sugar, they need to be controlled. So if you're diabetic and you've just had a stroke, your sugars will also need to be controlled because they might increase the damage that occurs with diabetic patients in the body. Then the other thing that needs to be done is to be able to give the patient, if it's an ischemic stroke, they might be able to give the patient some medications that can reduce your blood from clotting, because if your blood is forming clots in the body, then those are the ones that cause the blockages in the brain and lead to stroke. So we might give some medications to reduce the blood from clotting. So those are some of the things that we help patients with when they come with a stroke. Apart from that, patients will need to do physiotherapy because of the injury, the paralysis that they are having. They're not able to move their arms properly or speak properly. So they might be put on physiotherapy where they go and do some exercises to strengthen the muscles in that part of the body that has become affected. So that is how a stroke is treated in the hospital and also diagnosed in the hospital. So today we're learning that stroke can cause disability in the body, and it needs to be diagnosed with a CT scan. Very important for you to do a CT scan in the body, in the hospital once you get there, for you to be able to know what type of stroke it is. Then we also mentioned that you need to be put on medications that can help to lower the cholesterol and also help to monitor or to reduce the blood pressure in the body. And also, if you are diabetic, you need to be put on diabetic medications. And if it's a clot that has caused the stroke, then you need to be put on medications that reduce blood from clotting. Also, very important, in the follow-up management, you need to be doing physiotherapy to bring back the strength in the muscles that have been affected by the stroke. So that is how a stroke is treated, and I do hope you have learned something. I do hope you'll be taking care of yourselves. If you know that you have hypertension, make sure you take your blood pressure medications, because if your blood pressure increases and becomes too high, it will cause you to have a stroke. So that is all we had for today. Be sure to watch again tomorrow. Thank you for watching.
Okay, now that was our resident doctor there. Now from health, we get into our money markets and see how the kwacha is faring against major foreign currencies this particular morning today, Wednesday. Let's go to the money market and check out the exchange rate. Okay, there you have it on your screen. That's your exchange rate for today, 8th May 2024. At exactly 0720. Now the United States dollar is buying at 26 kwacha 94 ngwe and selling at 27 kwacha 47 ngwe. The euro is buying at 29 kwacha 5 ngwe and selling at 29 kwacha 62 ngwe. The Great British Pound is buying at 30 kwacha 84 ngwe and selling at 34 kwacha 51 ngwe. The South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha 46 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 49 ngwe. And of course, like always, your eyes will be on the United States dollar, how it is faring against the Zambian kwacha. And as it stands, you and I can see that it's selling at 27 kwacha 47 ngwe. Those were your exchange rates for this particular morning, 8th May 2024 at exactly 0720. Thank you so much. Now, Chanda, the exchange rate.
27 kwacha.
Yesterday it was 27. Today it's still at 27. We were promised and assured at the beginning of this year, I think 2 months into this year, that we have to look out for the kwacha because it's going to do a bullish attack towards the dollar specifically, because Zambia as a country we normally trade in dollars. So we were given that assurance.
It's not happening anytime soon.
So
of course, we saw some time back when the kwacha sort of gained some strength, but then technocrats attributed that to as artificial gain, because a few
figures were being massaged.
Could be, because a few weeks after that we saw the dollar begin to go up again, and now it's going up. This is now the real exchange rate that we are seeing, and not that the one we were seeing before. Because I had an opportunity to speak to some economists that said that gain you are seeing is only because it's artificial and not necessarily because it's actually going down.
So why do that at the end of the day? Should we be living under a fictitious economy for the sake of maybe political expedience or politics of populism, like they call it, populist politics? Look, towards the end of last year, we were assured again, Chanda, that investors had made a commitment of 60 plus billion United States dollars that is coming to this country as an investment, in form of investments rather. Then 5 months into this year, but from my end, I don't know about you and our viewers out there, I'm not seeing investments that are tallying to 60 billion United States dollars. I stand to be corrected. Yes, we might talk about the Mopani deal. We might talk about the Shaft 28 being reopened and being dewatered. There is dewatering that is happening there, and also the KCM Vedanta. There are some issues there. We await to see. So that's 60 billion really.
That's the thing. We've got quite a number of these seemingly good investments that people pledge. Foreign nationals, they pledge a lot of money in dollars, saying we'll come through to your country and invest so much. But then that is on paper. It looks good on paper.
It looks good on paper.
In terms of actualizing it, we've got little or no investments that have really been actualized on the ground. For example, you are saying of that $60+ million, where billion, where have we seen it? Such kind of investment. But of course, it is on paper.
It made headlines.
You made headlines. Yeah, people pledged. Where is the money? And if I told people come through to our country and invest, we should be able to see some trickle-down effects on the economy. But are we seeing that? Currently, the dollar is trading at 27. It is expected to be going up. Where are we going as a country? Of course, this also means it's creating an environment that is not so business friendly, given the current other economic hardships, fuel or trading, amongst other things. So for that person that is doing business in the markets, elsewhere, the person that is trading in dollars, it becomes hard for them to continue with their businesses, because it's a challenge for them to get their commodities from elsewhere in the country and then bring them to here, because the dollar is trading at a high price.
Okay. I hope the powers that be are watching and listening. But a quick one before we go to our first story, as we begin to zoom on our headlines this particular morning. Chanda, quickly, yesterday during the press briefing that was held by the governing party at the party secretariat, the Anderson Kambera Mazoka secretariat, was this issue of the unstable kwacha touched on?
No, it wasn't. Unfortunately, it wasn't. There was a briefing, I covered that briefing, and it was solely meant for, they were addressing the issue of the current government being in conflict with the Catholic Church. because there were some speculations or assumptions, allegations, whatever you may call them, in one of the daily tabloids that alleged that the current administration, which is the UPND, is in conflict with the Catholic Church. Of course, those accusations were leveled by the Patriotic Front, the Edgar Lungu-led faction, PF. So those remarks were coming in from Given Lubinda and his counterpart. They were alleging that the current government is in conflict with the Catholic Church. So the UPND yesterday held a briefing to dismiss those claims and say, look, we are actually in good books with the Catholic Church because we do recognize the efforts that have been putting in bringing unity and peace to the country. So that is what really was being addressed in the briefing. Another thing that was touched on is about the democratic space, because of late we've been seeing people purportedly saying the democratic space in the country is shrinking. And of course, he did, Mark Simo equally did dismiss that claim and stated that Zambia has been ranked to be among the most democratic nations in the country and the world, in Africa and the world at large. Those are the few issues that were spoken on. But of course, we know today they are going to be holding another briefing at the same place. Hopefully they get to address
chaired by the same people?
Not necessarily. It's going to be other people, but we look forward to see if the issue of the kwacha is going to be addressed.
Okay. When I heard about that particular briefing, my initial thoughts were that briefing will touch on a number of economic, social issues that are currently impacting the majority Zambians. Okay.
Right.
So it is important to clarify your position with the church, but then again, it's how, when you make that pronouncement, what actions are you taking? What symbol is there to signify your relationship with the church having been consolidated? Okay, you don't need to be reactive and come to us and tell us that you are in good books with this individual or that individual. It's your demonstration, your actions after or during. You get.
Right.
So at the end of the day, for me, I feel let's stop skating around issues that, for me, I feel they could be important, but are they going to bring bread and butter on the table? Will your relationship with me bring a loaf of bread or reduce the bag of mealie meal to 50 kwacha, Chanda?
Oh.
Your guess is as good as mine. So that's really my concern, because time is ticking and we don't have time. This is the fifth month.
That's a valid concern, because everyone is looking forward to what the current administration is going to do to address these economic challenges. The issue of the cost of living is what is among the most pressing concerns coming out from the public.
Exactly.
Mealie meal, the millers produced mealie meal, is now at over 400 kwacha.
Exactly.
And of course, we did see FRA did start to buy maize at 330 kwacha, is it? 330 kwacha. Meaning that if a farmer is selling that, if they are getting that, they are selling the maize at 330 kwacha, meaning it's going to, the price of producing that bag of mealie meal is going to go up. Thereby, it's going to cause a further increase in the price of the actual mealie meal that the Zambian public should consume.
Don't we have technocrats? If you and I, with basic economics, can be able to analyze that and be able to predict the outcome, don't we have technocrats that can advise the party that is in government to do the right thing?
We do have technocrats on the ground, in the party, in the current administration.
The president himself is
which I believe are equal to the task, because before you are placed in that position, you should be assessed and your attributes should be put into question. And before you are placed, they should be sure of the person they are placing in a certain position. I believe we do have technocrats that are going to be speaking to those issues. And we are yet to see how this is going to unfold going forward, because the drought is, the effects of the drought are with us for as far as probably December or so.
True.
Yes, until we see the next.
So for me, Chanda, those are the issues that I expected the UPND representatives to to be able to explain to the Zambian people they owe us that much as the Zambian people.
Right.
We need to know where they're taking us, where we are, and what plans they have for us. Yeah, somebody will say there was a public forum that was held, but guess what? It was poorly attended. It was poorly attended, and this public forum was being chaired by the finance minister, and it was poorly attended. Talk about us, the scribes. How many were there? How many were present? So, what is making people to seemingly, okay, I'm being careful with my words, to seemingly lose confidence in such forums where you know the Minister of Finance will be there? This is the time now to ask critical questions.
Well, in my opinion, this is my personal opinion.
Please.
I feel from the time the UPND took over office, they have been assuring the Zambian people of transforming the economic landscape of the country, which in their view, they have done okay. They have scored, according to some people I've spoken to, they are saying they have scored in quite a few areas. But then when you ask that question to seek an answer from the public, the answer is negative. And for that reason alone, in my view, I feel they have been promising the Zambian people to change the narrative. But then the situation has been negative. So let me give you an example. If I keep on assuring you to do something for you, then I keep on postponing, are you going to continue believing in me? Are you going to still have confidence in me?
Definitely I lose confidence in you.
So that is the current situation, at least from my perspective.
I agree. I totally agree. Before we get into our story, our first story, Chanda, I totally agree with you. I think these pronouncements were made pre and now during the UPND's tenure in office, and we are seeing that slowly but surely the public is seemingly losing confidence in this particular
and just looking at
administration.
For how long have they served again? Close to 3 years, yeah?
Close to 3 years, 2 years, 2 years, 7 months.
2 years, 7 months. So in 2 years, 7 months, this is the current economic landscape. What are the chances that in the remaining 1 and some months, 1 year and some months, they are going to be able to transform the country, when in the last 2+ years, this is the mess that we are in?
And the Minister of Housing and Infrastructure will answer you like this, as he was quoted yesterday in one of the daily tabloids, that things are going to be better before 2026.
And I've noted some of the responses we are getting, which are not really satisfying, given the current positions they are coming from. Of course, previously we did see government state that we are suffocating them. The public is suffocating them. Of course, that pronouncement came through from Minister of Community Development.
Now we're stressing them.
We are stressing them. Also, Minister of Information came through and said we should embrace this increase in fuel, because given the economic landscape now, it is expected that fuel will rise.
It's those.
You are a leader. You are supposed to be bringing to the table solutions, practical solutions for that matter, to address the challenges the Zambian people are facing. But then, if you as a leader put in that big position, Ministry of Information,
you are saying we're stressing you.
You are saying we should embrace we should embrace the increase of fuel. Really?
Look.
The same government that promised us to reduce fuel. To reduce fuel.
The same government that promised us to reduce a bag of mealie meal to 50 kwacha. The same government that told us the kwacha, by the time they are sown in, by the time it is 14, the kwacha would have been reduced. And let us not bury our heads in the sand.
The same government that said we are equal to the task.
We are equal to the task. We are all feeling the pinch out there, and we can't continue to sit and pretend as if everything is all right. You can't. It's the same pronouncement, it's the same attitude, the same arrogance, the same conduct that is being exhibited that led the PF government to lose elections and be kicked out of government. The same responses. You have an air-conditioned vehicle. You have free fuel. You have free airtime. Probably in your area, electricity, you
It's
do
not
have
as
power.
bad.
It's not as bad as we are. Anyway, if you are load shedded, the genset automatically kicks in. But how about that person in Kanyama? Do they have the same privileges that you have? And that's the voter that rose up around 03 with a brazier.
Just to ensure that you are put in that
You
position.
are put in that position, and you are answering to say the increment in fuel pump prices. Petrol is now 35 kwacha per liter. Embrace it. Millimil is over 300 kwacha. Embrace it. What else? The kwacha is unstable against other major foreign currencies. Embrace it. What kind of response is that? We put that one aside. We go to a Ministry of Community Development where you are told to say, you are stressing government. You have to be on family planning. You are there as a leader to serve the people. You told us, for instance, the UPND told people that we are coming as servants to come and serve you. We are coming as servants. You are our bosses. Is that how you treat your bosses? Is that the response you can give to your bosses? Surely there's a way in which you need to address the electorates. Even if power has got into your head, at times you have to lower yourself down and become and have empathy. Empathize with the majority Zambians out there and feel. We interact with people, Mwango. We interact with people on the ground, and they are saying, look, you as information disseminators, you as journalists, you as scribes, look at the things that are happening. Don't go on TV, don't go on radio and begin to sugarcoat things. Speak things as they are, because your allegiance is with us, the people. Politicians come and go, and power, I know most politicians don't want to hear this, but power is temporal.
It's for a short while.
It's for a short while. You might think you are there till kingdom come.
And 5 years seems long when you are getting into office.
5 years seems long, but guess what? The time is coming.
We're already in 2024.
I was watching a clip of a former minister in one of our neighboring countries.
Right.
I won't mention his name, I won't mention the country, but one artist did a song in his honor the time he was finance minister of that particular country.
Right.
Yes, a well-known artist. Okay, I'll mention the name of the artist. Casper Nyovest did a song about that particular finance minister of that particular country, of a named country. Fast forward to now. The man is frail. The man doesn't have money. He's lost it. He's no longer in government. Okay? Why? Power is temporal. That's a gentle reminder to the politicians out there. We go on our first story, where the Economic and Financial Crimes Court, High Court Division, has dismissed an application by former Tourism Minister Ronald Stotela to stay the execution of a judgment that ordered him to pay a construction company 6.5 million kwacha following his admission that he owed the company money for the construction of his house. We'll go on this particular clip. When we come back, join us on the other side as we begin to pave way for our guests this morning. Do stay tuned.
On 26 April 2024, former Minister of Tourism Ronald Chitotela sought the court's intervention to halt the enforcement of an order seeking to grab his goods and chattel as means to raise more than 5,960,000 kwacha for a construction company for which he owes money after it built a house for him in Chongwe area of Lusaka province. However, the former minister risked losing goods and chattel worth 9,650,000 kwacha as the Economic and Financial Crimes Court, High Court Division, has dismissed the application on grounds that Mr. Chitotela failed to satisfy the condition for a stay of order to be granted. The Pambashe lawmaker wanted the court to stay the execution of the judgment pending hearing and determination of his application, to vary the judgment sum and to set aside the writ of FIFAM. This was after Azad Investment Limited issued a writ of fieri facias, meaning an order to a sheriff for executing a judgment against Mr. Chitotela obtained last year, in which the court ordered the Pambasha Member of Parliament to pay the firm 6.5 million kwacha in a ruling passed by Judge Pixie Angailo, Ian Mabolobolo, and Vincent Siloka. The court states that it is considered that the lawmaker stated if the judgment on admission is not halted, it will unfairly enrich the construction company, but peruse of the record reveals that the first defendant has not yet filed his intended applications to vary the judgment sum and to set aside the writ of FIFA. As such, the court is unable to preview the prospect of the proposed application. The court also stated that there is no prospect of varying the judgment as it was arrived at based on Mr. Chitotela's admission and the evidence produced before court, and also ruled that Mr. Chitotela did not demonstrate that he would suffer severe loss if the order of stay is not guaranteed. As such, the matter returns on June 4th, 2024 for a hearing of the application for special leave to review ruling filed on May 26th, 2023. Nelson Zulu. For Camnet News, Lusaka.
Okay, so that's the story on the former tourism minister, Honorable Ronald Chitotela there. He is also the Pambasha Member of Parliament, appearing before court, and it's being revealed that he owes 6.5 million kwacha to a construction company. Chanda.
And of course, we are seeing the Economic and Financial Crimes Court High Court Division dismissing an application by the minister to stay the execution of a judgment that ordered him to pay construction company that amount 6.5 million kwacha, stating that he did not satisfy the conditions for a stay of orders to be granted.
And that's the former minister, and he was a minister not so long ago.
Not so long ago.
So you see that we're not speaking from without. Power is indeed temporal. You come into government, into that political office, you're not staying there for too long. You might be fired. If you are lucky enough to finish the tenure of your party, which is 5 years, if you are lucky enough and the people of Zambia decide to give you another mandate for 5 years, it's okay. The MMD was there for 20 years. We saw the PF being there for 10 years. They left. So even successful governments that are coming and politicians altogether need to be reminded, treat the electorates very well, because as you are coming down, they'll be the ones holding the ladder for you.
Yes, because at the end of the day, they do retain the power to place people in positions.
Exactly.
So if you demean them while in government, of course, time will catch up with you. When you're out of office, you'll still go back to the same people and plead, saying...
For instance, we have seen some ministers, some individuals that were ministers in the MMD regime. We have seen them. Some read newspapers. You know when you go to Lusaka post office.
Right.
There are those individuals or street vendors, let's call them street vendors, that display old newspapers like for 3 weeks ago, a month ago.
Right.
Then you just want to see what happened. It's stale, but you want to see what happened a month ago.
In case you missed it.
In case you missed it. One of the former ministers, cabinet ministers,
right,
with a flag on his vehicle, waving left, right, and center, goes there to go and check what happened a month ago, what happened 2 months ago. And he is a former minister. He was in government. He was a minister with a bodyguard. You remember, for instance, what happened at Force Headquarters when the former Home Affairs Minister, Honorable Stephen Kampiambo, was told off by our hard-working man in uniform. Was told off, can you keep quiet, I'll lock you up. Then he was like, no, you used to salute to me.
There was tension there.
Yes, there was tension. You used to salute to me. I was like, no.
We did see some big words being used.
Big words being used. You see, so emotions. Now you are coming to terms with reality. I'm no longer there. This used to be somebody I used to send to and bring me a bottle of water. That is not happening anymore. So even as young,
they no longer report to me.
They no longer report to me. So even young emerging politicians need to be reminded that the old ones know that, but you know how it is. People decide to maybe forget, or
I think it's just the thing with power. You get too excited once you are put in that position. It's like you have everything at the palm of your hands. You've got control. You can give directives and people listen. Salute, yes sir, yes madam.
Exactly.
Just by your word, they get things done because they listen to you. And that sort of gets to your head and you seem to forget the reality. You start living a unique life.
A fictitious life.
Yeah. Sooner or later, reality kicks in and you realize that you're almost living. And then the only people that can put you back in office are the same people that you were demeaning. And then you realize that you can't go back to them and plead because these are the people that you spoke against.
Exactly.
These are people that when they tried to seek dialogue with you, you refused because you are obviously busy attending to
exactly
busy in the same position the people placed you
to attend to them, and you're saying you're busy. Talking about busy, Chanda, yesterday I had an opportunity to talk to the former minister, Honorable Gaston Chiliba, away from the cameras. I asked him, we made attempts to get these individuals, the PS, the minister, to be able to comment to some of the allegations that were being forwarded by the Edgar Lungu-led faction of the Patriotic Front. And the PS didn't have an answer for us in the Ministry of, is it in the Ministry of Mines? The minister wasn't picking up. The other PS said he might issue a statement, but then again, maybe it might be different from that statement that will be issued from
That's
the
best we get
Mines.
when we seek to get a comment from these people.
Exactly. And you know what Honorable Gaston Chilima told me? He said, in the Manawasa administration, if, for instance, that gets former, may he so rest in peace, former President Dr. Levi Patrick Manawasa, if that, he gets wind of that somebody called the PS and he wasn't given information, that PS would pack up his bags the next day. That's how serious the man was.
Unfortunately,
the minister, the controlling office of the ministry is the permanent secretary. He has to have information on his fingertips.
Right.
If the media calls him to inquire, he has to have the information. He might even tell you to say, give me an hour, I'll get back to you. After an hour, he brings that information. Not the PS telling you to say, can you call the minister? Keep on calling him, he's going to pick up. Under the Manawasa administration, he gets wind of that. The next day you pack up your bags, you start off. Because you're not ready to save the Zambian people that have entrusted you to, one, get their taxpayers' money. And President Hakainde Hichilema did review when he addressed permanent secretaries that they give themselves allowances. They're getting hefty allowances. He took them off. So why should we allow that to continue when we're not even being given enough information? We go to the same party again, they have a press briefing, they are not addressing critical matters.
And it's not money we're asking for, just information.
Just information. And when we call you, it's not that we're asking for favors or monies. No. We want information so that we can give the Zambian people the information that they need. If you can't give us information, you don't deserve to be in that office. You do have a story, Chanda.
Of course, one of the stories making headlines this morning is the ruling UPND has dismissed assertions made by the Edgar Lungu-led Patriotic Front-led faction that it has strained relationship with the Catholic Church. Addressing the media Tuesday, UPND consultant Mark Simowe dismissed statements from PFs Given Luvinda and George Sanga, alleging that UPND Secretary General Batuke Imenda has insulted clergy members. Mr. Simowe labeled these claims as PF propaganda aimed at political gain. We do have a clip for this particular story. Let's have a look at it. The United Party for National Development UPND has dismissed claims by the Patriotic Front PF of the party being in conflict with the Catholic Church. The UPND says it has noted the propaganda being spearheaded by the Patriotic Front PF and has since described it as false, stating that their party remains in good books with the Catholic Church as opposed to the narrative being communicated to the public by Given Luwinda and his counterpart George Chisanga. Addressing the media Tuesday 7th May 2024, UPND consultant Maxime Way has described the allegations as false and unfounded, emphasizing that the UPND has been a staunch believer in the efforts of the Catholic Church in bringing unity and peace in the country.
We have taken note of the state-managed, sustained propaganda by the Patriot Front, zealots or cadres, who include Mr. George Chisanga and Mr. Given Luwinda in one of the daily tabloids, that the United Party for National Development Secretary General, Honorable Batuke Menda, has been insulting the Catholic Church, especially after my appearance on the Hot FM's flagship program, dubbed The Hot Seat. We wish to put it on record that there is no conflict whatsoever between the Secretary General and the Catholic Church. And later on, the UPND itself, it must be stressed that the UPND is a staunch believer in the role that the church has played in the governance system of our country, and most importantly, in socio-economic contributions, unity, peace, and guidance.
He adds that the public should not entertain the remarks as they are aimed at denting the image of the party with the church, given that no statement has been issued by the Catholic Church to this effect. Mr. Simue has further refuted allegations that the country's democratic status is in decline, saying that Zambia has been ranked among the most democratic nations in Africa and the world at large since UPND assumed office.
Earlier this year, it established that Zambia was classified among the top 3 most democratizing states in the world. Not democratic completely, the most top 3 democratizing states in the world. And it is being used as a case study, as you may be aware, for democracy, effective 2021. The next point, another research, I'm sure you saw, many of you, which was posted by former President of Botswana, President Camnet, in which your head of state in terms of governance issues, democracy and everything, is topping. Another research was conducted which showed your president as 5th in Africa in terms of enhancing democratic space, governance, and just all the issues in total.
Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Lusaka. There you have it, viewers. That is one of the stories making headlines this particular morning from the UPND, of course, dismissing claims from the Patriotic Front, the PF-led faction, that they are in bad taste with the Catholic Church. Joe?
I have a question for my older brother and good man, Mr. Smoe. By the way, he is my tribal cousin, so I can say anything I want, but respectfully and legally so. My question to him is that, why is the UPND so thirsty of being praised? Or recognition? Okay, for instance, okay, fine. If the president of Botswana or SADC recognize Zambia as one of the 3 democratic countries in Africa, what happens?
Well, nothing really happens because the concern again from the public is still on the same issues.
But this
the public really, unless some sections of society, but then the majority just wants solutions to the challenges they are facing.
Yes.
Of course, we get it. It's good if Zambia is being ranked among the most democratic nations in Africa and the world at large. It's a good indicator. We are doing well. We are observing human rights. We are embracing different political views. We are accommodating different political players. That is good. But then, on the ground, the Zambian people are suffering.
What are the Zambian people saying?
What should we be praised for? Is it the democratic status or the fact that we've got a good economy, that
a thriving economy, a growing economy?
Citizens are able to afford their basic needs and nutrition basket?
No, You know what?
People are getting decent salaries.
That's what I'm saying. Those are the issues that the UPND is supposed to be responding to. Those are the issues they are supposed to be talking about. Unlike telling me to say SADC or the world or Africa has recognized Zambia as one of the 3 democratic countries. So what? Is that going to add to our GDP? Is that going to bring food to that child, that family in material constituency? Kwa Shadrix, Kwa George.
Which brings about there's been an online debate about the high cost of living and the peace we're experiencing, because previously, the allegations were not necessarily allegations, it was out on the public for everyone to see. In the PF, there was so much violence that people could not do things normally, because of course the cadres had taken over the country. They had a lot more power. But then the issue is, in the current administration, we've got peace. No cadres in bus stations. Everything is okay. But then we've got the high cost of living. So which one is better? Being in a violent party, but then being able to sort of afford some of your basic needs and nutrition?
But again, look, politicians shouldn't make us seem as if we are so forgetful. This country wasn't a war-torn country. That maybe cadres were all over. It was ungovernable. No. Cadres were in designated places like bus stations. And these cadres would threaten or come and beat those that spoke against the party that was in government, right?
Right.
So at the end of the day, that confusion of cadres, it's the politicians themselves to blame. It's they're the ones that brought it upon the Zambian people. Whether you are in the ruling party or you are in the opposition, they're the ones to blame, the politicians. You get? And these cadres were designated places. We can't say, no, cadres were all over. Cadres, no, we know there were incidences of cadres being violent. But these were isolated incidences, number one. Number two, these cadres were in designated places. Yes, they would come and attack somebody at a radio station, at a TV station. You know why? It's because they were being taken care of. And whoever attacked their bread and butter, they came for him. They were eating. You get?
And just for the record, this is not to mean we're supporting cadreism.
We are not supporting cadreism. I condone it because I'm also a victim. I'm also a victim. So I condone it. I don't condone it, sorry. I condemn it in the strongest terms. We don't condone cadreism. We don't support cadreism. But let's be factual. It was in designated places, in the markets, on the bus stop, at the bus stops. And it wasn't like when you go maybe to Levy, you find the cadres around and saying, no, you're not going anywhere, pay us money. It was being perpetrated by politicians, and it's politicians to blame for those cadres that were there. I'll tell you, we do have a police report.
Right.
The day before yesterday, in Material constituency, Kwashadrix, that side. Do you know what happened? Over 100 youths, okay, these unruly youths gathered themselves. I know the UPND is not ready for this conversation, but gathered themselves. Over 100 youths went abusing residents verbally, physically, breaking into people's shops. And one of the gang leaders was arrested, and some gang members were arrested. Some are on the run, and the police manhunt has been instituted in Matero constituency, right here in Lusaka. Over 100 youths, unruly youths. Now ask me, what is causing that? And the police were overwhelmed. They were overwhelmed. We have these reports. What is causing that? Those are the issues that we, the media, expect those in the UPND media team or those media representatives of the UPND to address to the Zambian people. What is causing people to behave the way they are behaving? What is causing people to be able to lose confidence in things like public forums that are supposed to excite you. You're going to meet the minister. You're going to ask these questions.
Got
to
an
the
opportunity
minister.
to speak to the
You
minister.
have the opportunity to speak to the minister.
To get first-hand information.
But guess what is happening? Information is emerging. Some that were asking critical questions are students. And they're being summoned by obviously political influence, but they're being summoned by the various institutions that they are affiliated to. Why were you asking such questions? Why were you doing this? So when people begin to question or begin to believe in these theories that are being thrown around, that there is shrinking democratic space, we need to go back to the basics and define what democracy is. Once we do that, we'll be able to know whether there is a shrinking democratic space or there is not. We shouldn't be able to bury our heads in the sand, whether we're going to be having press briefings each and every day, including Saturday and Sunday when we're supposed to worship the Lord. It won't help until matters that impinge on people's well-being, akabunga, stable kwacha, high employment rates, when they are addressed, fuel, electricity, load shedding, when these are addressed, all these concerns won't be there, and there will be no need to come from your woodwork and begin to defend yourselves because this one said this, now you want to say this. No, people are looking for solutions. The UPND said they are going to fix everything. They are going to fix this economy because Zambia had been raped, had been abused, had been all the fortunes of this country, coffers were empty, and they came to fix everything. It's their time. This is their meal. Let them fix it. The Zambian people are waiting. And the minister tells us to say, before 2026, everything is going to be okay.
How?
2 years, 7 months? 1 year, 6 months?
Well, that's a very valid call. Of course, she's saying everything is going to be okay. We get that. I mean, sorry, he's saying
Engineer Charles Milupi was quoted.
Everything is going to to be fine. Okay, we get that part. But what we want is, how are you going to do it as the government?
Give us the steps.
Give us the steps that you're going to take to address some of these concerns. Of course, we've heard this story before. Before assuming office, you said you were going to fix it. You didn't tell us how, but we placed confidence in you because we thought you were competent enough. But then now, you're back with another story. You're saying things are going to be normalized on the ground. You're saying things are going to be okay. Of course, we appreciate that. We get it that you're trying to stabilize the economy, but then give us a channel that you are going to use to address some of these concerns. The high cost of living, how are you going to address it? How are you going to ensure that it gets down to a level where people are able to afford? Electricity tariffs, we saw them being increased not so long ago. How are you going to ensure that they get down? We saw ZESCO has started the process of importing power to cushion the impacts of load shedding.
But then again, why are they telling us that the load shedding hours will increase?
That's the contradiction that is there, because my concern is
we need to be sincere.
You increase electricity tariffs, then you are there saying we're going to revise the load shedding schedule to increase more hours. It doesn't really correlate. Where's the correlation?
There's no correlation.
So meaning people are going to be buying expensive electricity, meanwhile being load shedded. And people, since the citizens said, oh, we have load shedding, let's use gas or we use charcoal. There was a charcoal ban. There has been a charcoal ban in Central Province.
In Central Province,
and there are plans of government being extending that. Of course.
Extending that, and we've been told whoever is found cutting trees will be charged. Okay, so there
and charcoal really is the immediate alternative
source for an ordinary Zambian. Before we even talk about gas, so now the alternative has become illegal. Because if you are found cutting trees, it's illegal. You will be charged.
Deforestation.
Then now there has been a ban in some areas. But what measures are coming from government? Why are we not seeing them having deliberate policies like, okay, fine, in all the 10 provinces we're embarking on tree planting exercises.
The measures
each and every school
embrace everything that is happening.
You get, but the message that we're getting is embrace everything that is happening. That's the response we're getting from the chief government spokesperson.
The one that should be providing answers
The one that
to some
is
of these
providing.
concerns.
You remember, not so long ago, under the patriotic government, when the issue of load shedding was raised, what answer did we get?
It was attributed to lack of leadership.
If you feel water levels in Kariba are so low, you go and urinate there. That's the answer we got. It's there on record. You can Google it. It's there. The media will don't forget. That's the answer we got. Fast forward to today, we're being told, one, we're stressing government. Citizens out there are stressing government. You should use family planning because you're stressing us. Okay? Now, it seems like government now is telling people you should only have one child, or you shouldn't have a child at all because there is economic distress. Number one. Number two, tariffs have been increased, fuel has been increased, this has been increased. No, embrace it.
Embrace it.
Embrace it.
And you know, the funny thing is, my concern really goes to business owners,
Business owners.
small medium enterprises. Amid this load shedding, there is a call by government say, okay, because of the drought, which was beyond control, we are going to be load shedding you.
Which they were warned.
They were warned.
They were warned.
Yes, but they decided to ignore the call. Okay, we're going to be load shedding you. The Zambian people welcome that. They are asked to use alternative sources of energy, among them solar, gas. But then they go that route, fuel is increased.
Exactly.
How do you operate agencies?
How do you operate?
Or with expensive fuel?
It brings me to where Constituency Development Fund. You are identifying women groups. You are identifying youth groups. Going into detail with this particular fund, it's a topic for another day. But look, you've identified these individuals. You've increased CDF from to 30.6 million now. You're going to give these traders, these youths money. What business are they going to venture into? A Zambian youth, the first thing you give them money is Nyambosunga Nkoko. Njambo kusunga nkoko. Poultry. How are you going to sustain that with load shedding?
You can't.
How are you going to grow the economy so that you're able to pay the money that you owe your debtors? With my basic economics, I'm able to do the math. But we have technocrats out there. Why are we allowing this to continue, or this to continue? Why are we allowing this to continue happening? And no technocrat out there is coming out and saying, no. The economic trajectory of this country is totally wrong. Honorable Gaston Chilima was seated here yesterday. He was calling for an economic endeavor for all citizens to come together and be able to offer solutions. Remove your political hat, remove your political affiliation. Let's sit on the table and begin to table the economic challenges of this country as citizens, not political affiliates. Because at the end of the day, political parties come and go, but Zambia stays, Zambia remains. What will happen to that coming generation that is coming? You have seen their conduct on Facebook when they blew up because they don't have the direction, they don't have guidance. The party in power is mandated to set an agenda. The question is, what's the agenda that the UPND has set since the time they came into government? That's the question we need to ask.
Right.
What agenda have they set? The PF said infrastructure development. Even in opposition, they're still saying that. The MMD came with democracy. Even when former President Chiluba, may so rest in peace, wanted to go for a third term, they said, no, we are a democratic party. We are a democratic nation. They stood by that. The UNEP gave you independence and they said industrialization. What is the UPND giving us? That's what we want to know. You can't be recycling things that have been there before. Yes, we appreciate free education, but it has been there before. It has been tried. It has been tested. You can't say CEEC. CEEC has been there before. Citizens have gotten empowered. You remember under the PF, they were given Haiger buses. They were given these tanker trucks.
Right.
What happened to them? You're giving me a tanker truck to be transporting fuel. I've never done that business before. Those Haiger buses were parked at new government complex, broken down. These are the issues that we need to interrogate. You can't continue doing the same thing and expecting to get different results. It's impossible, Mr. Chanda. It's impossible.
Right.
It doesn't work like that.
Just like the saying goes, if you do what you have always done, you always be where you have always been. Let's take a look at another story that's making headlines this morning. Of course, we are seeing the Anti-Corruption Commission has arrested and charged former Monze Town Council Secretary Benson Wenji and a former councillor for Hamangaba Wadi, Wenga constituency, Mebin Mudenda Chongo, for conflict of interest. ACC Head of Corporate Communications Timothy Mono says Mr. Benson Wenji, 47, of House Number 6 and currently Council Secretary at Iteji Town Council, has been charged with 1 count of conflict of interest contrary to Section 28, Subsection 2, as read together with Section 41 of the Anti-Corruption Act Number 3 of 2012 of the laws of Zambia. We do have a clip for this particular story. Let's have a look at it.
The Anti-Corruption Commission has indeed arrested and charged former Monze Town Council Secretary Benson Wenje and a former councillor for Hamangaba Ward in Wengwa constituency, Mabin Mudenda Chongo, for conflict of interest. This is a matter in which Benson Wenje has been charged with 1 count of conflict of interest contrary to Section 28, as read with Section 41 of the Anti-Corruption Act Number 3 of 2012. On the other hand, Mabin Mdenda Chongo has also been arrested and charged with 1 count of conflict of interest contrary to paragraph 6, 1 and 7 of the 3rd schedule of the Local Government Act Number 2 of 2019 of the laws of Zambia. Benson Wenje and Mabin Mdenda bought a plot each from a person in Monze who had a residential plot, and they requested him to have it subdivided for purposes of them being able to use their plots in the manner that they wanted. So they requested this vendor of the plot to make an application to the council, Monze Council, for change of use and subdivision of the said plot. And in the process, Wenje was a town council secretary and Chongo, who was a councillor, they sat in the meeting of the council that deliberated on the application to approve the subdivision as well as the change of use of this plot. And this amounted to conflict of interest. Consequently, they have been arrested for that offense.
Okay, thank you so much for still joining us on Camnet TV Breakfast Show this particular morning. Now, away from clips and matters of governance, we come to our main interview this particular morning. And we're so glad that you could still join us, where we host a representative from Water to Water Zambia. And I'm talking about Aradia Mtonga. She is the Sustainability, Transitions and Innovation Lead. She joins us on stage to discuss a number of issues. Okay, Radia, good to see you and welcome.
Yeah, thank you and good morning.
Good morning. Yeah. Now, for our viewers out there that are seeing you for the first time or hearing about Water to Water Zambia for the first time, kindly, can you tell us about Water for Water Zambia and also its mission to ensure safe access to drinking water and sanitation for all?
Right, so Water for Water, yes, Water for Water Zambia is a non-profit organization that was founded in 2012 by two brothers, Leo and Maurice Etta, and they founded this after the death of their brother. These are two brothers from Switzerland, and in that moment they had sort of an epiphany or a life-changing moment, trying to think about what are we really doing in life and how can we better the world that we live in. And an immediate thought for them was, look, we live in Switzerland where people have access to clean water. You can draw water from a fountain in town, for example, in Switzerland, and there are other people in other parts of the world that don't have access to clean water. So what is it that we can do to mitigate this gap? Water for Water was born. They started in Zambia, and we are now present in Mozambique as well. What Water for Water does is essentially, in the name, we work with, we have a 600 partner network, for example, in Switzerland and here in Zambia, as well as Mozambique. And how we work is, we work with hospitality outfits, helping these hospitality outfits move away from the illicit use of the use of plastic, right? The use of plastic bottles. So we provide filtration systems and glass bottles, for example, and the money that is generated from that revenue is put back into our project. So, for example, in Zambia, we're present in Linda. I can't remember the other peri-urban area that we work in Zambia, in Lusaka, but we also work in Southern Province. We are present in Batoka and Pemba. I want to say that we extend already existing infrastructure or install infrastructure in places that don't have access to clean water, but also have the wash aspect where we work in communities and in schools. Working communities in schools, installing ablution blocks, and really maintaining infrastructure that is present in those places. There's a lot to explain, but I am aware that there are, I think, other questions that you might want to ask about Water for Water.
Okay. Right, and what are some of the key challenges that you seek to address?
Right, as Water for Water?
Yes, as Water for Water.
So some of the key challenges, like I said, I think is access to water. Access to water, particularly in peri-urban areas, and also improving sanitation conditions for communities and schools. Those are the key challenges. Another key challenge that we seek to address as Water for Water is the skills development gap that is present within the wash and water sector, right? A gap we identified, for example, was other organizations and institutions will install this infrastructure, but there's usually nobody at a local level to maintain this infrastructure. Right. So, for example, right now we work with different vocational training colleges and centers, and in those colleges we introduced some water management courses, but went ahead and introduced the bursary program. I think we work with over 100 students in different vocational training centers every year. So a bursary program, we offer a stipend to the students and also help with infrastructure and equipment. This is all in a bid to close that skills gap. We also make sure or try to ensure that the people that are in these programs then find work in the different water-related sectors. Another gap that we identified is, sometimes water is looked at as an individual thing, like in a silo, but water is connected to everything that we do. We have a drought right now, or there was a pronounced a drought, right? And it has affected almost everything, right? We don't have power, but water is also connected to agriculture. It's connected to whatever you're doing, for example, as a TV station right now. So a gap is, but in my department, for example, is seeing how we can work with different industries to promote environmental sustainability with a focus on water, but also connecting it to the different things that we do. So those are the challenges.
How do you do it? Do you maybe install boreholes in various communities
At the wash level. So water for water works in 3 different ways. I think I should start. So we have our wash team, our wash systems team. Those are the ones that work like on the ground. They install boreholes, but they also maybe increase. They also work with utilities. So we have MOUs with Lusaka Water, for example, Southern Water, and trying to enhance their work. So whatever is missing at a utility level, Water for Water comes in and extends the way they work. So there's that infrastructure side. Then I talked about the skills development side, and then the sustainability transitions and innovation side and hospitality side is where now we work with corporates. We would come to Camnet TV, for example, and assess, okay, how are you managing your water as Camnet TV? What are some of the environmental sustainability challenges that you have? So we'll either help you create a roadmap, for example, on how you can manage your water, or see how we can design a program that will help you innovatively manage your water. On the hospitality side, I think this is one of our biggest programs, and how we make most of our money is my colleague Genda Mwikisa, who's the hospitality lead, for example, will approach a hospitality outfit.
So maybe on that one,
yes.
Raju, let's kind of take a quick break so that we can pave way for Mr. Ngenda to come.
Oh yes, so that you can talk about hospitality.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back as we wait for Mr. Ngenda to join us.
Okay.
Water is life. Each drop counts, and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Renglow, your smart irrigation partner.
Okay, and there we go. We are still with representatives from Water for Zambia. Right now we are joined by Mr. Ngenda Mwikisa, who is the hospitality lead at Water for Water Zambia. So we continue with our discussion, but before we went on that particular short break to pave way for Mr. Ngenda, you were concluding on something. Just kindly conclude, then Mr. Ngenda will chip in.
Right, I think I was talking about, because I was asked how we do this, so I was explaining the 3 or 4 ways that Water for Water works. So I talked about skills development, and I talked about innovation within sustainability, and another way that we work, or what we do specifically, is hospitality, which is one of our biggest, I think, revenue generators, and Genda will explain how hospitality works within Water for Water.
Right, okay, so I think the inception of Water for Water from Switzerland actually commenced with the realization that they already had good, high quality treated water, tap water that people could freely consume. However, despite that, people were still consuming plastic bottled water. And that was quite ironic. So why are we drinking this plastic bottled water when we already have this quality treated water running through our taps? And so the idea was to partner with restaurants, hotels, lodges and so on over there to get them to stop using plastic and to start promoting the consumption of this treated tap water. And in exchange for that, people that consume that water would then make some donation or some payment towards consuming that filtered water. That would then come towards wash infrastructure projects here in Zambia and Mozambique. So that's how it started, and now there's over 600 partners, like Raja alluded to earlier, and we're looking at extending that network into Zambia and Mozambique. Now, the reason we're extending that network here is because we also want to find a way of creating this local sustainable fund. So we can basically solve our own problems, with our own money. And so we're trying to link the private sector to the social sector. And so, for example, if it's here in Zambia, right now, we recently signed two partners. That's the Chaminuka Luxury Lodge and the Nkosi Livingston Lodge and Spa. That's in Mukuni village in Livingston. And the whole idea is that they'll have water filtration infrastructure installed at their premises, and then people can consume, that quality water, and we then get a portion of that revenue from the filtered water that they sell. And that portion of revenue that we get is what goes into our WASH projects, into our skills development projects. And the whole idea is that we can keep this sustainable, so we don't have to source money from Switzerland or from outside. The idea is that we can grow this local fund so we can solve as many of our local issues as much as possible by ourselves. And so ideally that's how the hospitality service works.
And how has been the response in terms of the skills development projects in the communities?
Well, I think the beneficiaries are the youths that get these bursaries in these institutions.
Right.
And so some of them are able to start their own little businesses off of these skills that they've got, because not everyone can get a job. But you can see through these bursaries that we've been giving them, many of them don't have the pressure of even having to think of work and raise money at the same time. I'm sure you know, you may be able to go to school, but you need money to sustain yourself whilst you're at school. And so these bursaries help them focus on that, get these skills, come out. You can either get a job through some of the institutions that we have MOUs with, like Lusaka Water, Southern Water Storage Company. So some of them get attachments in terms of jobs to these institutions. And others are able to use these skills to basically start their own small businesses and get their own jobs going. So I think they're really happy, and it would be nice to have some of the beneficiaries here in future to speak for themselves.
Okay. Yeah. And maybe let me find out. Could you share, for instance, any specific projects or initiatives that Water to Water Zambia is currently working on or planning for the future?
Right, so Water for Water Zambia, it's the four. So Water for Water Zambia, for example, within the Sustainability Transitions and Innovation Unit, it's a very long title. One of the projects that we did a Zanaco Green Innovation Challenge. So we partnered with Zanaco, and the whole premise was to find businesses, right? Find SMEs that are working in the green space that we're promoting, SDG 6, 12, and 13. So those speak to water access and wash, responsible consumption and production, and also climate change.
Okay.
And so finding businesses that would promote these different SDGs, but also improve their communities, right? That has been ongoing. So it ended last year rather, and we had our three emerging winners, or our three winners. We had winners. One of them was or is promoting reusable menstrual hygiene products, I think, which speaks directly to WASH, and also responsible consumption and production. And then we had somebody who is extending the water access or network in Kawambwa district. And then we also had somebody who is in biogas, but he's doing biogas specifically for farmers within a certain demographic, and this is in Southern Province. Okay. So for example, that's, I think, a project that we did in Zambia, and are concluding it this year as these people are going through their mentorship. Right now we are also planning a skills upgrade week. So I talked about the people in the skills development program, right?
Right.
Right. And these people just, you know, they learn very technical skills.
Right.
Right. But then there's the real world where you need to have your soft skills, you need to have digital skills, and all these different things. So we are in the middle of, or rather we have designed this program where some of the graduates, I think, will go through this innovation bootcamp, where they're learning practical skills. How do you manage your money? How do you conduct yourself if you're trying to get a job, or if you're trying to start a business, how do you go about it? So that's something we're also planning to do, and are looking for partners actually that would be interested in moving this particular project forward. Yeah. Lastly, I think on our WASH side, we are in Southern Province, particularly Kalea School, and we're working with the DEBs in Mazabuka. I think there's a community project and a school project that is ongoing, an installation of a borehole, I would also like to say that, you know, as we're installing these things, we don't just go there and install these things. There's actually advocacy and education that goes on how to properly manage your water, but also around sanitation issues. Yeah.
Okay.
The skills development program you speak of,
Yes.
is it open to everyone in the community?
So it's open to people that are in particular colleges, vocational training colleges that we've partnered with. So we are with Lusaka Vocational Training College, Mansa Trades. We recently signed an MOU with Solwezi Trades, or we will be signing an MOU with Solwezi Trades. This will happen in the next few weeks, and have also partnered with St. Mawagali in Southern Province. So if you're in those schools, I think there's a particular criteria that our skills development team put in place, then you are eligible for these scholarships. I think I'll put them because it's comprehensive. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the conditions that you have to meet is that you're supposed to be a student.
Yes, in those schools, because I think we would need, I think it's essential that there's a body to carry out or another establishment that will manage the funds that are given. So yeah, you have to be in those schools.
Right.
Yeah.
If I could add, the bursaries basically that are dispersed to those students are administered by the institutions that we partner with.
Yeah.
And so I think this is why it's necessary that those students make applications via the institution through us as well, but it's administered by
the school.
The technical institution that we've got an MOU with.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe my next question would be, in what ways does your company promote eco-friendly consumption of water and contribute sustainable water management practices?
Right. I think I think I'll get back on to the green hospitality service.
Okay.
On this one. So essentially, like I alluded to earlier, by us partnering with players in the private sector, lodges, hotels, restaurants, and so on, we are encouraging them to make this green transition by saying, okay, you don't have to use plastic bottled water for your drinking water needs. You can actually generate that drinking water right on your premises, because now the green infrastructure is available to ensure that you can have quality drinking water right on your premises. So this is the water filtration infrastructure, for example. And also, how do you serve your clients or your guests? You know, so we also provide glass bottle infrastructure. So these are 1 liter glass bottles, carafes, glasses, and these are water for water branded as well. And so they can use this essentially to cut out plastic, which is not environmentally friendly. And at the same time, it also makes economic sense, because as opposed to having to go and source this plastic from wherever you buy it from, you simply make that one-off investment in the infrastructure, and then you earn the revenue directly. So whatever filtered water you generate is what you sell to your clientele. And so then we can preempt all this plastic that we see in our drainages, that and hopefully stop this annual cholera thing, because this is what partly causes it. You know, so I think this service in particular is one of the major practices that we are promoting amongst our partners.
I think, and to add, I think we also are interested in helping you design either a program or really look at your if you're an organization, for example, look at your internal processes and to figure out, okay, how are we being environmentally sustainable or eco-friendly within our processes, and then as Water for Water, through the Sustainability Transitions and Innovation Unit, we can sit down together and co-create more sustainable practices that you can embed within your operations as an establishment. So I think those are some of the ways.
Okay. And let's begin to look at, because my producers and my colleague here, we do understand that Water for Water Zambia is participating in the Lusaka Business Expo Summit 2024.
Yes.
So what motivated your decision to be part of this event?
Right.
Yeah, I think first of all, we want the general public to appreciate the value in what we're doing as Water for Water Zambia. You know, so we really want to put that out there amongst the corporates, their clients, the general public, to get them to appreciate the need to transition to more greener practices, you know, for the environment, and not just the environment, also economically. I think there's an opportunity to make money by doing good. You know, so I think it's necessary to put it out there that, you know, we are doing this social good, but there's a way in which we can sustain that social good by actually tying in some financial incentives to that. And so we want people to see that, look, yes, doing good is necessary, but you can also make money.
Commercialize
You
it.
can commercialize it, because the commercial component is what creates that sustainability, and it also creates incentive for more people to participate.
Right.
And so we want people to understand that link, and we want more and more people, even like in terms of the skills development side, we want people to know that we have these bursary programs. Please sign up for these water-based training programs at the different technical vocational institutions that we've partnered with. And we also want people to appreciate the social work in terms of WASH that we're doing in the different communities in Kalea, in Pemba, Batoka, Brazapuka, here in Lusaka, in Kondwe. So we want more and more people to understand this model and to understand our work and to see how we can work together, you know, and just try to enhance or scale up the efforts of what we're doing. So I think essentially this is our biggest motivator to participate at the Expo.
And we understand that at the Expo, there could be some organizations, like-minded organizations, that are probably aiming to achieve what you seek to achieve as Water for Water. So are there any plans to sort of collaborate with other organizations in achieving your status quo?
Yes, definitely. Like I said, I would like to really implore or I think emphasize that water, right, and environmental sustainability is not just for the people who are working in environmental sustainability or for NPOs like ours. It's an intersection. It transcends just environmental sustainability sector. It's for the finance sector, for the technical sector, digital sector, whatever sector you are in. I think it's important that you are involved in the kind of work that we're doing. So yes, we're hoping that people will, again, like Ngenda said, see the importance of what we're doing and hopefully leave with partnerships either on paper or open discussions to moving our mutual goals forward. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope I answered you.
Okay. Now, as we begin to conclude, maybe let me start with you, Mr. Ngenda. Your concluding remarks before we come to Our Lady.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I would like to say firstly that this is an appeal to us as Zambians and everyone watching, that we shouldn't just look at this as an institutional thing. I think we should also look at it as a personal thing. Personally, what contributions are we making towards seeing a better society? What are we personally doing to ensure that we don't see cholera next year again? You know, so it starts with ourselves. You know, why should I consume plastic when I know the outcomes potentially of doing that? How can I personally ensure that I adopt practices or behaviors that ensure that I can preserve water and thereby allow access for it to people that really need it, you know? So I think it starts with us looking at ourselves in the mirror and making some of these behavioral changes, and then also hoping that we can one day see a better society and then be proud to call ourselves Zambians. I think that's what it's really about. And so, yeah, over and above all these institutional initiatives that we have going on as Water for Water Zambia, I think the call to action is a more personal one for all of us to think about these things deeply, to reflect on ourselves, and to make the necessary behavioral change. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. I think I'll repeat what I said just before Ngenda. It's not an environmental sustainability sector problem alone. I think it's a problem that affects all sectors, and so again, my call to action is internal reflection on processes, internal reflection on your operations. How are you operating to ensure environmental sustainability, but also water management.
Okay.
Is there a way that we can work together to improve, I think, our socio-economic standing as a country, but also to ensure that we are sustainable? Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Ngenda Mukisa, and a hospitality lead, and Raja Mtonga, sustainability, transitions, and innovations lead.
Yeah.
Quite long.
Very long.
Thank you so much for coming through, representatives from Water for Water, Zambia. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
so there you have it, viewers. Thank you, the viewer, the major stakeholder. Chanda, we need to go.
We've come to the end of the show. Unfortunately, of course, our guests for this particular show were representatives from Water for Water Zambia, Radia Mutonga, Sustainability, Transitions and Innovations Lead, as well as Ngenda Mwikisa, Hospitality Lead, of course helping us understand the value of water management and sustainability. Of course, given the fact that the current times we are in of the drought, it is very important that we utilize water effectively and efficiently. It's been an amazing discourse that we've had. Thank you for joining us on today's show. And but for now, we have to go, and thank you for being with us throughout the time. Thank you for those of us that were watching through our Facebook page. We thank you for your presence. And of course, from me, Chanda Mwango, it's good morning, and my colleague Joe.
Good morning, and I will definitely see you at 13 hours for another exciting program, the Lunchtime Cafe. Stay tuned, and God bless.